are live.
Yo.
Yes, indeed. Y'all know what time it is. I hope y'all got y'all full set of scuba gear on, because we about to go deep. I'm going to get y'all deep into the water properly. That's why I'm a splash specialist. He's going to teach y'all how to navigate through the water safely and how to use your gear properly. That's why he's a splash inspector. And I swear, if I see one flotation device before we enter this water, I'm fucking you up and kicking you out of this expedition. Because here at the Deeper Dive Dialogue, we don't demonstrate, we penetrate. Shout out to my man, Old Man Ali. Shout out to Old Painless. Shout out to my man Eddie Pendergrass, the rest of the Schwabel Room Squadron. You did. Shout out to Beat Down Brown in the place to be. You feel me? We about to go deep into this place. Let's go. What's poppin', Drizzy?
You know, can't call it.
Yeah, I feel you. I'm trying to call it, but it keep hanging up. You dig?
Man, I'm trying to tell you. The number you have reached is no small man, sir.
And the subscriber is no longer rocking with you. I mean, sometimes it's all good, though. You feel me?
Mm-hmm. It was all good just a week ago.
Just a week ago. But yesterday, shit unraveled. You feel me?
Yeah, man.
Shoot. So what's on the subject, man? We talking about your boy DeSantis.
DeSantis.
Yeah, they talking about the NAACP got that thing about black folks and everybody. Well, it's not just the NAACP from what I'm seeing. I'm seeing they then linked up with all other minority groups, telling them not to visit the state of Florida. Well, Florida. I'm not going to even say Florida because Miami is in Florida, and I actually like Miami. You know what I'm saying? But yeah,
I really like Miami. Yeah,
woo, yeah. I got a home. I got peoples in Orlando and in Tampa. So you know what I'm saying. Shout out to them for sure. But yeah, they saying
I lived in Orlando.
They saying
Central Florida, stand up.
They saying that it's like don't go because of the stuff that he got going on.
That's what they keep saying is businesses that were shutting down in protests. I mean, it's getting kind of serious right now.
Yeah, man. Serious. I mean, from what I'm seeing or what I was reading, like it seems like every bill that they passed, it's targeting like a specific minority group. So it's like one bill is targeting this group, another bill's targeting this group, another bill's targeting this group. So it's like, it's wild, bro. Like, I don't get it. But one thing that I've noticed about your man DeSantis, which is crazy, and I shouldn't even say close to home. It actually hit home. His roots is at the crib. You did.
Give me 1 second. I'm gonna adjust my lighting. I'm just turning the camera off, but I'll still with y'all.
No doubt.
My bad. Okay.
Yeah, his roots are in Youngstown. His
White Town.
Both of his parents met while studying at Youngstown State University. Go figure. So if they figured out where his corruption starts, it was embedded. I'm just kidding, but yeah, man, his people met at the crib, so that's a fun fact. But yeah, man, I don't know. I mean, shoot, they just say he wilding for this. I don't get it. I don't know. I don't know if it's like a form of business practice or he just trying to stir the pot. What's your take on it?
Ooh, I might have a bit of an unpopular take. Mm. So I have to study the bills a little more. I was talking to you in the pre-section. Man, this lighting. One second. I'm sorry. This is killing me, y'all. Forgive me. Um, One thing that I noticed is, all the far left groups have band together to make this a racial issue, and I'm not so sure that it is. Um, I say that because having been a former resident of the state of Florida, uh, there is a strong immigrant presence that pretty much makes up the meat and potatoes of Floridian life. And Florida being a right to work state, there are a lot of people that are employed that are not of citizen status. Those people, under the right to work um, laws, I have seen from experience in labor positions go to take a 10 to 15-minute break and come back from break 2 hours later. And
Mm.
they can't them because they didn't completely abandon the job, but they definitely left the front of the work. The rest of us who only took their actual scheduled 10 to 15-minute breaks. Just things like that kind of put a different spin on this for me, and maybe even other individuals out there who might share the same grouping of experiences or, you know, outlook. Um, I also have a strong stance personally on what we could call immigration. Uh, One party is particularly liberal when it comes to certain groups of immigrants. The other is more across the board restrictionary. And I think that DeSantis is a part of that particular group. I don't know that it's corruption. I think if you look at the flip side of it, there could be a lot of corruption on both sides, of course. With the left of the Democratic side, there's a lot of exploitation and a lot of catering at the same time to the immigrant population. On the flip side, on the far right, you see a lot of restriction, you see a lot of exclusion. But that exclusion is not, I don't think, so much a targeting as it is a making sure that you're not able to come here and get more than what someone who is actually from here is able to access. The main law dealt with not allowing people to transport um, unregistered immigrants or what's the word they use? I hate the word illegal, so I'm trying to use another
Undocumented.
undocumented. There we go. Persons, and for the purpose of receiving benefits from the state of Florida. And I'm not in disagreement to that thought process. Now, as far as the carrying out of that thought process, there could be some things within the bill, like you were stating, that could be interpreted as very structured, very poignantly aimed at certain what you refer to as minority groups. And I have an issue with that particular term because uh, minority as perceived is a person who is of non-white status, which would admit in that same statement that white is a status. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that I've discussed in the past on other podcasts with other guests and other co-hosts and groups is the understanding of legal language, which is not something that is common to most of us, and I think always deserves a second look and some further attention from any of us once we start to become more and more aware, of what's been happening and what is currently coming down the pike in the near future. Obama kind of gave some hints in some of his addresses. One in particular address was given in Cairo, Egypt. I want to say the year was 2011. Uh, he spoke on declaring a nationality, and he spoke on the right of a person to define themselves and to also have that exercising the right to describe or define their children based upon their own descriptive terminology and putting that on a legal record. So I think that these are things that a person like myself and some of the people that I build with or communicate with regularly, we've been aware that this was coming. And this is not anything shocking to us. It's not something to be up in arms about. It's something that people should have been preparing for and that a lot of people were trying to get the word out about for years. And those people were shouted down. They were mislabeled, misnomered, referred to in a negative context legally. And we've seen some of those groups emerge. Some of them refer to themselves as Moors. And we've seen some extreme behaviors in counteraction to their actions and basically trying to make people aware of what the rights are that they should be claiming and operating in. And I'm not saying that they're correct completely on using that particular terminology for all of us as a status, correct? But it's definitely some there's definitely some validity to their arguments and their standpoints as to what is black, what is white, what is Latino, what is Hispanic, what the fuck is a minority? Is it a
Mm-hmm.
minor child as the legal document and definition of the documents that are used using that terminology defines? I would say yes. Why else would you have a president who we are colloquially calling the first black president refer to himself as the first Kenyan American president? He states a
Mm-hmm.
nationality. Kenya is a nation, right?
Right on.
America is a nation. So he had dual nationality, which has not everything to do per se with his citizenship. You see what I'm saying? So people can
Right.
say, oh, it's semantical, but it's not. When you're dealing with the letter of the law, you call someone a minority, you're not just saying that they belong to a group that is considered in the minor portion of percentile of population. You're saying that that person is a minor. They're a person with a disability and an inability to define themselves, defend themselves, or represent themselves.
Right on.
So I'm gonna let you kick in something because I was
All right.
talking
So
for
here go another question to add on to that because we're speaking on minorities and
yeah.
one of these minority groups that has been affected by one of these laws is the LGBTQIA plus minority group, right? That community. Now,
Okay.
minorities also can be considered women are also in that group, right? So when you bring in the LGBTQIA plus community into that, you have to talk about the T in that,
Mm,
the trans community.
okay.
Now, when you have the trans community and the trans community, the trans women who are labeling themselves as women.
Mm,
Now, how would we go about that? Because you got to figure that's another very marginalized community, and then within the minority group. So, I mean, how will we go about labeling that situation? You know what I'm saying?
mm. Bling. Okay. 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 Interesting choice of word. Uh whew. So what do I how do I want to say this? When approaching this particular aspect of the topic, the carefulness in speech gets a bit tedious, right? Because political correctness, not wanting to offend, right? But also to be effective in one's interpretation or speech and understanding or comprehension. So when you start to mess with definitions, right? If the legal definition of what is considered to be a woman is changed or altered, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then one can enter into that argument and they could say that those people are of a minority group, now they would also be kind of using as a double what's the word I'm looking for? Gosh. They would be using a point that is doubled, like they're doubling down. So not only are you saying that you belong to a group of disadvantaged individuals or of individuals who are viewed as having a legal disability. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Not a physical handicap, not any of those things, but a legal disability, person who is not able to be represented properly within their own scope of authority or interest. They're also saying that they're part of what I gave as another portion of that definition, which would be the more literal definition. You are of a smaller percentile group of the greater population, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where someone like me has to take issue with the whole concept, because it's not that you should have any less rights because you're trans, but you most definitely don't deserve more rights because you're trans. You should have the same rights, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so, with the whole topic of minority, bringing that back in, you're stating that you don't have rights that are recognizable by the majority or the status quo in society. So now you're moving towards the language of what is a protected class.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make
Got you.
sense?
I got you. I got you.
And so that's been the whole big issue with the whole Stop Asian Hate. It's not that most of us don't want to protect Asian people from harm, just like we would want to protect any other group of people from harm. Unjust, undue, unwanted, bullying, harassment, uh, torment, mistreatment, punishment, uh, criminal acts of violence, right? But what happened to the years of lynching? What happened to
Hmm.
those who were done away with during Jim Crow? And what about the states who just recently took their Jim Crow laws off the books?
Hmm.
So if you're going to create a protected class, you're going to have to include portions of every particular group.
Exactly. Exactly. And that brings me to that whole question of corrupt,
Mm, mm,
because my whole thought is when you speak on the left wing and the right wing,
mm.
they're both from the same bird. And to me, corrupt is corrupt. You're going to be corrupt either way you look at it until you get what you want in any way, shape, or form, no matter how you slice, dice, flip, and bounce it. So one person's corrupt is going to be somebody's cool. You feel me? And vice versa. So, I mean, in somebody's eyes, what he's doing is corrupt. And in somebody's eyes, what he's doing is okay. So, I mean, I'm not saying that one is right or one is wrong because this is a podcast on basic comedic satire. We don't get into politics, and all this shit is alleged. I repeat, all this is alleged.
Alleged.
So,
Yes. Yes.
you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Old man
Shout out Old Man
Ali.
Ali. Thanks.
Appreciate
Yes.
that.
That was an original J. Drew's production. Thank you for that shout on the music. Yes. Thank you.
But also what I had wanted to speak on as far as the whole thing with the state of Florida and everything was we had spoke earlier on some stuff, and I had asked if you had seen the Grand Nighthawk on Hulu
Mm.
because that was a it was basically a show about a former FBI agent who was basically a hitman for the Klan, or is an acting hitman for the Klan.
Mm.
And this took place in Florida. And what I didn't know was they had said that back in the heyday of the Klan and all that stuff, that Florida was probably one of the most racist states in the country. They said that to this day,
Mhm.
they still have a lot of active members in Florida. They just act as correctional officers, allegedly. We're going to say allegedly.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I
Okay.
mean, with all that corruption and everything, I mean, who knows? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. So, not unlike the state in which I currently domicile, I formerly domicile within the confines of the former Free Republic of Florida, which was referred to as the state of Florida. It was like being in the third world country in certain ways. No entrapment laws. Um, Watching people be rounded up from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. in the evening on 104, 105-degree days with a relative humidity of about 80%. Um, well, so it reeks of the Jim Crow South in certain regions. And in certain areas, it's like you're standing at a bus stop and a person who is of a lighter hue might run up on you and say, "Oh my God, brother," because they heard you speak perfect English, and they hear that you're a Yankee from the North, and they're so happy to see you because your work ethic and your verbiage, your manner of speech, and the way you carry yourself is more similar to what they consider to be first world. And once again, a greater populace of that particular region of the country is immigrant. And just for the record, uh, I don't have anything against immigrants or even the concept of immigration. However, I do think there needs to be a great revisitation to how those policies are enacted and how they're structured, and how they're carried out. Um, because there are a lot of undesirable energies that come along with people who are in migration. There is also, oddly as you mentioned, a very large trans community within that particular region. And because of, I think, the gravitation or migration of certain surgeons with certain specialties under their belt medically, right? If
Mm-hmm.
a person, for example, has access to money or can stack up enough money, they can do wonders. Okay, so there's a lot of local jokes in places, for example, like Orlando. They say, "Well, you see that group of women? Yeah, well, if you leave with one of them, make sure if you go anywhere with them, the lights are on. And if that's what you're into, buddy, hey, then more power to you." Those are,
Bruh,
those are the time, and unless you walk upon them, you will not know. And I
man,
and I would
listen.
highly encourage that you keep the lights on. I'm just saying,
Man,
but not
listen.
not to encourage any prejudice towards anyone's preference, or
Uh,
I'm just
let me tell
saying.
you something. Let me tell you something. So,
Hmm. Hmm.
I've been to Orlando one time. One time. I was 18 and it was spring break. I went with my mom, bruh. I didn't want to go, but it was like spring break. It's like, you want to go to Disney World?
Hmm.
No. It's like, well, it's during spring break. Not really. Well, it's free. I guess. All right, cool, whatever. So she was like, all right, cool. So we went. It was for her. I mean, like it was for her job, but I mean, this it was in Orlando. I was like, I guess I'll go. So we stayed at like the airport, but they had like I don't know if it's still like that, but the airport there's a big hotel that's connected to the airport. So I just hung out in the airport all day and like the lobby and stuff. It was actually pretty dope. So I'm walking around like 18, walking around like this hotel lobby slash airport lobby. And this one older dude stops me. It was a white dude. He was like, "Hey, you from around here?" I was like, "Nah, I'm just visiting. I'm like staying in the hotel lobby." He was like, "Hey, listen, I'm just gonna be honest with you. Be careful." He was like, "Orlando is the second highest city in the country with AIDS."
Mm.
Word? Thank you. And it was all kind of chicks just giving me the eye. And I'm just looking at them like, yeah, I don't know about you. I'm good.
I don't know what you
Nope.
came to do,
I don't know what you can to do or what you might be on,
but
but
I came to survive another day. Hey,
facts. Facts.
amen.
And I'm looking,
Listen, man.
then I'm looking, I'm like, you got it. I'm looking at one like, yeah, you can't fool me with that stubble and that Adam's apple. No, I'm good.
Or those size 14 pump.
I'm like, wait a minute, dog. Like, we got the same size shoe. Hell no. No.
Yeah, man. I mean, it goes down.
Yeah,
No
man.
pun intended. But yeah, so that state, man, listen, when I was down there, I saw deputies' houses being raided by the streets. I seen officers and their families being murdered in the middle of the night because they decided they was going to pick on the wrong D-boys and rob them. And instead of turning it into evidence, let the D-boy catch wind of the fact that it's right at the crib and the family is none the wiser. And now the dog, the kids, and the wife got to go. I seen it. I mean, and
Tragic.
it doesn't make the national news. Uh, the bridge going into Kissimmee and St. Cloud on the way to Disney World for some who haven't been that way. The spray painted messages, N words are not welcome. If you dark, then you better leave by dark. Yeah, I mean those things were not uncommon, and they were not removed. Most self-respecting, upstanding cities, right, or municipalities, townships, villages, etc. They see some graffiti or some disparaging comments or words defacing public property, but targeting a certain group of individuals or ethnic group or what have you. They would have a project, right? They'd find somewhere in the budget to have that removed. And even if they could locate the individuals that might be responsible, if they're not going to give them a serious penalty, they would definitely assign them, right, normally, to have a project of removing what they have vandalized public property with. But
Word.
not there.
They proud
Yeah.
of it.
I mean, in some places, I mean, and you got a whole different kind of redneck there. See, there's the real rednecks, which are from West Virginia and Ohio, that wore the red bandanas to show their
Right.
protest and solidarity to
Right.
the bad treatment in the coal mines, right? And then
Right.
there's the ones who think because they work in the sun and their neck turned red and your neck turned black that they're better than you,
Right.
even though they don't talk better than you, they don't cook better than you. Anyway, I'm sorry.
You
So
stupid.
you get where I'm going.
I
So I
get
guess I
what
can. It's
you take
understood,
right.
don't got to be explained. But
That part. That part.
I very seldom, when I was there, ran into those types of individuals, and I'm glad for that. But I knew that they were there. I knew that they existed. Um,
They only came down when the sun. They came out when the sun came down.
Most likely, you're probably right, and probably in areas that were what we would consider to be not necessarily rural, but definitely not within the urban centers, right?
They
So
came
somewhere
out to
more
buy
in the,
dope, allegedly.
allegedly, hmm and to see their black babies' moms or girlfriends. That
Not
so
even
anyway,
that.
uh,
They came out to they. Awful, all the
I
way.
mean, but you know the type of individuals that will
I know
say,
what you're talking about,
I can't
bruh.
stand none of
It
them
was,
people, but
bruh.
then
It was dude. It was a movie out like that. Gucci Mane was in it. It's called
okay,
Spring Breakers.
I haven't seen that.
Bro,
I haven't seen
I
that.
think it's on Netflix, right? Bro, you gotta see that shit. It's funny as a motherfucker, man. Oh my god. Selena Gomez is in there, shit.
Okay, okay, okay.
Andy Milonakis is in that shit.
Milonakis.
It's
Oh man,
funny
I
as
gotta
hell.
see it.
The dude that made the dude that made Gummo and Kids made that shit. It's fucking hilarious, dude. It's disturbing as shit, but funny as fuck. You gotta shout out to all of them because that movie's funny as hell, dude.
You
For
gotta
real.
send me the name of that later because I will check it out. If it's not, I believe
It's
it's
just
funny. If
funny,
you say
dude.
it's that funny, I gotta see it.
Yeah, it's not meant to be, but it is. It's
Yeah.
funny as shit. To me, it is. I got a fucked up sense of humor, but yeah, it's funny as fuck.
Oh, I think I definitely do too.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, Florida was like living in a different country. Um, and when I was down there, I had the wonderful experience of having lost three different forms of ID and having to
Ouch.
contact all of the credit bureaus and putting pins on my socials and waiting through the process of getting some other form of ID from Ohio from my parents so that I could prove that I am who I say I am in order to get their ID. Um, that was a wonderful, wonderful experience. Of course, seeing the alligators that float up out of the drain off pools on the side of the road, all of
Man,
those things were just incredible.
see,
Totally different.
that shit would scare me at first, but then I'd be like, you know what? That would make a lovely belt or a lovely pair of shoes.
Yeah,
That
man.
shit would go nice on my wrist right now.
Listen, it's nothing like seeing on the afternoon news a 12-year-old boy go to take a dip in the local lake to cool off after summer school at his grandparents' house, get bitten by an alligator and taken into a death roll, and figuring out some type of way to hit the alligator in the soft spot while rolling underwater
Mm,
to
that's
get loose
instinct.
and
That's
receive
instinct.
countless stitches and then be asked by a news reporter, "Do you think you'll stay away from Lake St. Mary from now on?" And he says, "No, I grew up here. I'll be here all my life, just like they were. I'm gonna go swimming the next time I feel like it."
Mm,
Okay, all
awful.
right. And that's
Wow.
not to say anything disparaging about the population of Florida. I'm just giving you a little.
Nah, that's a bunch of fucking alligators in that shit.
I'm just trying to tell you, this is a very aggressive
Dude,
environment.
you in the South,
Um,
bro. I mean shit.
it's a very aggressive environment. As beautiful as it is, you could imagine, especially before certain, I don't know, certain introduction of certain development, the environment was very hostile. You had to be a special type of person, indigenous, to coexist in that aggressive, hostile environment and use it to your benefit.
Bro, you
And
had to be a fucking survivor.
yeah,
And
yeah.
speaking of survivor, let's talk about survivor's remorse.
All right. Okay, let's segue into
I
that.
mean, shit. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Especially in our community, to get out of the community that we've adapted to. I use
Hmm.
them air quotes, the hood, I should say.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, they and to make it out, and you got a whole 9 times out of 10, you got like a whole community to support. You know what I'm saying? You got at least 5 or 6 other families that you may have to feed. And I'm talking about like if you make it out as far as like professional sports or like you like some multi-millionaire type action, you know what I'm saying? You got about at least 5 or 6 families to feed, you know what I mean? Like that's just how it is, you know what I'm saying? Because we don't get those opportunities that people that don't have to get out of the hood that they don't we don't get them opportunities, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
my question is, aside from like everybody that you would normally help out,
Mm.
the people that, let's just say, helped, air quotes, helped you out, do you owe them anything? Now, when I'm talking about helped, I'm not talking about like I said before, like the people who like been down for you since you was yay small, not the ones who didn't sacrifice stuff for you to help make sure that you made it. I'm talking about the ones that then came in here and there and took you to a couple of practices, or once they actually seen that you was gonna be somebody. And when I mean be somebody, after you done got a scholarship and then got some little and not even little endorsement deals, but once you done got popular and then basically made your way and had scouts looking at you, started supporting you,
Hmm.
then jumped on the wagon type thing, like that kind of help. Do you owe them anything?
Hmm. Jumping on the wagon.
Yeah.
I think you do. I think those people, even in that position, you have to look at it like what's really in it for them. Um, yeah, they might have bragging rights in their mind, uh, but if you think about it, they're the transitional people that might take you from one arena into the next. Those people
Okay,
have
but go ahead, my file. Go ahead.
those people might have connections. Those people might have the ability to help you transition yourself into the more polished you. Where you might be that diamond in the rough, they might be the diamond brush or uh, the polisher, the Dremel that has the brush on the end that dusts off the rest of the particulates that might continue to give you that rough appearance. That makes other people leery of accepting you for who you are and where you're headed. So I think there's a not necessarily a debt owed, but there's definitely a gratitude that should be had. There's definitely should be a sort of appreciation. But do they deserve all the credit? Nah. Do they deserve the majority of the credit? Absolutely not. Should you bandwagon with them and forget about the other people who forged you in the flames and you know needed out the knots in your character or in your thought process that was holding you back at one point in time or that needed to just be you know um, mended or broken or whatever to get you to actually the best point in that particular arena or time period in your development that you needed to reach. I mean, I just recently lost another coach, little league coach, uh, Coach Pegues. Shout out, love to the Pegues family. My condolences. If any of you see this, my sincere condolences. Always held him in high regard. Always loved that man. Um, he showed tough love from a true love standpoint. And by that, I would say he's one of those people, man. Not only did he knock me down on my butt on the football line, but he picked me back up so he could knock me down again. So he taught me how to fall first. Then he taught me how to stand. So uh, that being said, those people, deserve the vast majority of the credit, so to speak, or are owed the most debt of gratitude. But you can't overlook the transitional people, even if they are seemingly bandwagoners, because they play a role, even if it's just teaching you who's who. Sometimes we don't see it until hindsight. Oh, that person only jumped on when they saw I was already, I was already, doing this or heading here. But that doesn't mean you necessarily would have reached that destination without their assistance.
Now, see, that's why I asked you that question because you took it somewhere where I didn't even take it. You know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't even thinking about that aspect of it. You know what I'm saying? That's
Mm-hmm.
why I asked you that question because you took it to that point. I didn't even think about that. You know what I'm saying? That's the man in the myth that explains the man in the motherfucking myth. That's what I'm talking about, Druzy. I'm talking about. Like, I was talking about the whole aspect of, oh yeah, like I may have just helped give him a couple of dollars for this or something like
Mm.
that. But see, you took it into the whole thing as far as like, well, maybe I see you going in this direction here, but
Mm-hmm.
no, I'm gonna steer you this way because that way could lead you down the wrong path. You know what I'm saying? Or
Yeah.
I see that you're more of a star and you're getting more into the limelight now, and I know for a fact that you still are a little rough around the edges, so I'm gonna put you in the way of media training. That way when you're in front of these cameras you can talk more professional, you can sound more eloquent. If they hit you with these trick questions, or you do get into a situation that might be a little tricky or sketchy, when they ask you a question to throw you off, you can answer it professionally. That's not going to derail your career in any way, shape, or form. See, that's why I asked you that question.
I'll give you an example. Boxing, right? Since we like most of us like boxing, within the crew, Swable Room crew, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got certain trainers that's your day one. You wouldn't be nothing without them. They took you from when you were nothing but raw talent or even the lack thereof, but all heart. And they saw that in you. And they help you forge or form who they could see you becoming in the next level. Oftentimes, those are not the trainers that end up continuing on being the trainer for the champions. They make fighters, and then there's other trainers that make fighters champions.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't look at either one of them as lesser than the other, because if there wasn't the trainer that could make the fighter, make that man or that woman a fighter, that other trainer that would be able to make them a champion would have nothing to work with.
Facts.
It's because they haven't even gotten to that level of a fighter where they can say, yes, I can make you a champion.
Right. So you need that trainer to get you from point A to B, and then that other trainer to get you from point B to C.
And sometimes we
Right
think
on.
because that trainer from point A to B was always there, they were there from square one, day one. That person has to be there in the end result. And
Right.
it's not that you cut ties or that they're no good to you or you discard them, but you got to recognize, like, hey, man, I couldn't even got here without you, but I see this guy and the level that I need to get to be in the arena with that guy to even be able to fight that guy. I got to get with these people or this guy to take me there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right
So I'm
on.
not firing you. I'm not firing you. I'm not saying, oh, we're done here. No, but if that
I
guy
just
can
have
come
to.
in
I
and
gotta level up.
yeah, and if that guy can come
Yeah.
in and work with you, if y'all can coexist, great. If you can't, hey, I'm gonna go with him for 6 weeks, and maybe for my next fight or whatever, once he gets me to that level, you know what I'm saying. All I might need to do is touch back bases with you and brush up, and we pick up where we left off. You know what I'm saying. But
Or
it's just like LeBron, right? 7 years straight not championship, sorry. 7 years straight playoffs. Team that hadn't been into the playoffs in I want to say a decade,
mm-hmm.
maybe more. Since the Mark Price days, Brad
Right.
Doherty, Mark Price, and Hot Rod Williams
Right.
days, Larry Nance days.
Right.
He has to go to Miami. Everyone criticizes him, but he doesn't care because he knows that if he doesn't get to be around Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade and that coach, he's not going to learn how to win at that level.
Right.
This is a guy who had never really lost on all the other levels that he had reached as a child.
Right.
But stepping into that grown man arena, and people can try to make comparisons between him and his airness, but there's no comparison. Not just because one has done more things accolade wise or never was defeated or any of those things, because we could make arguments round and round. Because where's the character? Where do you learn character? In losing, not in winning. Every winner is gracious unless they're just an
Right.
arrogant a-hole. You know what I'm saying? But where is the grace in losing? I mean, winning. The grace comes when you can lose and say, you know what, man, you were better than me. But it's not gonna happen next time. I'm gonna be ready for
Right.
you next time.
Right.
Like much respect. Have a great off season. Congratulations. Love you and your family. But next time we meet, if it's not over this summer break, I'm coming like a dog for you. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not gonna forget this feeling.
Right.
And that's what makes champions, and that what they call that killer instinct. You have to go sometimes and be around the people who already have that on that level, and they can seem like front runners because what, it's a no-brainer, right? Oh, you made a super team. That's what everyone kept saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at the other teams in the 90s that were winners, like didn't just win one championship and that was it. They won back-to-backs, or they won, three out of 5 years span. Those teams didn't have just one great player. They really didn't. They
Right.
had Hall of Famers, plural. So, in order for him to go to that next level, hey, he had to make the unpopular choice, you
Indeed.
know. And so, yeah, that's how I feel about those people. Because there was a time period you'd have asked me that same question, I'd have been like, man, those people are always taking the easy route. They always just jump on the band. Yeah, but what if they didn't jump on the bandwagon? You could have turned out just like everybody else that had
Well,
a had a buzz and had a name and
well,
was
not
once this or that.
yeah, not just that though. I mean, it depends on what their intentions were as well. You know what I'm saying? If your intentions were to actually help that person build up and become something great, then it might have been a different outcome, you know what I'm saying, than to just say, well, I'm just seeing what you're gonna do, and then I'm just seeing what's in it for me because I already know you're gonna be a star and I'm just looking out for myself. Then yeah, the outcome would have been different and the whole praise would have been different as well. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. And I think your question more so was what credit they deserve, right? Or what accolade or acknowledgement.
Right,
And
right.
I say of the highest. Mike Tyson can't talk about his boxing career without mentioning Don King.
Yeah.
And we all know Don King stole from him, lied to him about contracts, right?
He's
But
still doing it.
without him though,
Allegedly.
without him though, where does Mike end up?
He wouldn't be at the height that he was at.
Even having to chase Don King around that car and that whole story, right? Because what people got to realize is not. Don King wasn't just an image. Don King was a gangster.
Right. I
No,
mean,
for real.
again,
For
nah, yeah,
real.
no doubt, no doubt.
So if you running from Mike Tyson, you stealing from Mike Tyson, but you running from Mike Tyson. So he needed that. And I hate to say it that way because it's not my life to really speak on, but I believe he would even say in some of the interviews I've seen, it was needed. There was a lesson learned.
I
And
mean,
that
but
guy was the ultimate front runner.
everything happened for a reason, man. I mean,
Yeah.
shoot. I mean, if you want to take it that far, I mean, dude, we could talk about Suge Knight. You know what
Let's
I'm
talk
saying? I
about
mean, we
Suge.
could talk
Come
about
on,
Suge
man.
as much as people talk about the bad that he did, allegedly,
The good far outweighed the bad
the good that he did
to me.
as well. I mean, that honestly, that kind of is what I even brought this why I brought this up because a lot of people, if he wouldn't have had that record label, it would be a
Mhm.
lot of people out there still doing dirt that was making legit money. You know what I'm saying?
He didn't, and he didn't do. Let's keep in mind, he didn't do anything that any other people in the industry from the start of the record industry, the shakedowns, the intimidation. They only was mad because it was someone that looked like us doing it, and he was brazen about it. He didn't even try to hide it.
Yeah,
He's like, yeah, and so
yeah.
did
And
I
I mean,
break the law? Are y'all gonna prosecute me? Okay, well, I'm gonna keep
yeah,
doing it.
yeah,
This dude needs release from this contract. He wants to sign with me. Is that true? Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna let him go. Okay, you're not gonna let him go? Shut the door, man.
right.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, yeah. Give me the pen. Yeah, that's what I thought. You go into court, what they're gonna say? Well, he intimidated me. Yeah, well, you signed this though, right? Did he have a gun to your head? No, not necessarily. Okay, well, you really don't want to let this artist go? What are we talking about here? Well, you want a percentage of what the artist makes with him? Obviously, he's unhappy. He's not productive for you anymore. Tactics are questionable. This ain't a new story for us.
Right,
What you really want to do?
right.
You know. So yeah, it's not to justify ill-gotten gain or intimidation factors, but hey, shout out to Suge Knight, for the good that he did do in the record industry and in the lives of certain individuals, maybe groups of people, and you know, he's got to
And
face
put
whatever demons behind the
putting out
wrong,
some
the
dope
wrong act.
ass music because the
Ooh,
music legit changed
ooh.
the fucking landscape of fucking hip hop.
I mean, it was the soundtrack to
Facts.
our lives.
Still
Yeah, man.
facts. For
And it
real.
introduced a whole different view of the culture to those who were from the outside.
Hmm.
To where it's top 40 music to them now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You might go to a bar mitzvah and hear rolling down the street, smoking Indo. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You don't know.
Right.
And you're like, do you know what they're saying in that song? They're like, it's just cool, man.
To the point where you got old white lady yelling out biatch.
Right on.
For real.
Right
For
on.
real,
So
man. You know what
so
I'm
you know,
saying?
man, so like survivor's remorse, right? Hmm. The people that we see that have quote unquote succeeded in their journey or in their efforts to a certain point within their journey. We hear the stories all the time of them being grateful that they made it or made it out, but sorrowful or regretful that someone who may have been more talented than themselves and their opinions of themselves, more deserving even, but didn't get out. What do you say to that? And what examples do you know of that might come to mind?
I honestly don't know of. I can't think of any examples offhand, but to the analogy that you just brought, I don't see no remorse. You shouldn't have no remorse in it per se, because my thoughts on that is, if y'all come from the same area, same hood, if it's at least the same or equal amount of talent, if it's the same exact circumstances, if y'all grew up together, y'all have the same 24 hours a day, y'all hung out together, did the same thing,
Mm.
no injuries plagued between each other, again, same opportunities, one just had a better work ethic or applied the time more, there shouldn't be no survivor's remorse.
Well,
Now, if there was something that happened to where, like, let's just say one got injured and maybe it might have messed up their career, that injury crippled their career or their chances of making it, and they kept trying and it just wouldn't work out. You know what I'm saying? They had the drive and the passion and they kept trying to, but that injury wouldn't let them. That might be a different story. You know what I'm saying? Now, with something like that, if you could put your man on to do something to help you out with whatever it is you got going on. Now, honestly, if it's like that and your man got the same drive, your man might be like, look, bruh, I see this isn't working for me. So I see it's working for you. If I can do whatever it is I can to help you make it, then let me do that. You know what I'm saying? That
yeah.
right there is
Um,
enough for me.
so what I'm more so referring to is literal. Like there's buyer's remorse, right?
Mm-hmm.
A survivor's remorse. Not someone who made it big, reached so-called plateaus like the NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, uh, what's it called? FIFA World Cup. I'm saying you literally survived and your mans in them died by 16 to gun violence that they weren't even involved in. I'm not talking about the ones that like to dance close to the flame, or that was just all they knew because their uncle's cousin's brother and daddy's uncle's brother's cousin, that was all they did.
So you just
I
talking about
mean,
like some innocent bystander, wrong place, wrong
just in the
time type
wrong
stuff.
place at the wrong time, trying to have a good time like everybody else, and they got popped. And you could have been easily the one that got popped, but you didn't get popped. And y'all both were equally gifted at whatever, whether it was music, dance, football, basketball, what academics for both 4.0 students. But his cradle got robbed. Literally. He got rocked. Cradle got rocked. Muffin cap peeled back blue. And now you sitting, you know what I'm saying, pretty, graduated college or whatever the case may be, went through whatever vocational program. You might run a barbershop. So I don't say what success is or isn't to people because we all have
Right.
different
Different
perceptions
ideas
on
of
that,
it.
and it should be that way, right?
Right.
That way, nobody's like, "Oh man, I didn't get to the NFL. Let me off myself," right?
Right.
Nah, man, that's okay. It wasn't for you, or that what? It's just not this time around, right? But it's just that survivor always has some kind of remorse, you know.
Yeah,
I
but in a
always have that.
situation like that, a situation like that though, as tragic as it may be, that's something that you don't have control of, bruh.
You don't, but there's nothing to say within your humanity. Why wasn't it me? And some people literally, they it goes so far with them that I don't want to say they wish it was them,
No, but you're
but
gonna drive
but
yourself crazy thinking about that shit.
that's the thing I'm saying. That's what survivor's remorse is.
Yeah, you're gonna drive yourself crazy
You're
thinking about that.
regretful that, for example, if there was a school shooting,
And you just
everybody
so happen
got
not to go to
shot but
school that
you,
day.
right? And or you did go to school and you saw everybody else get popped when the gunman got to you. Click, click, click.
It just wasn't
I
your
mean,
time.
bro, you can look at it that way, or you could compartmentalize the situation with the trauma and say, was I supposed to die too? And it was just some kind of odd freak occurrence that the gun stopped firing, the pin
Yeah,
got hot. You know
bruh,
why? Why did
you can
why
play
me?
you can play a million different scenarios and it's all gonna come out to the same thing, bruh. Regardless of how you slice, dice, flip, and bounce it. It ain't nothing you can do about that. And that's gonna plague you for the rest of your life if you let it.
But that's what I mean by survivor. When I hear survivor's remorse, I'm talking about true survivor's remorse.
Now I
Like
get what you're saying.
like not only could that have been me, I felt in every fiber of my being
That it should
I
have
should
been.
have been gone too.
Yeah,
Not the only one, like I'm special,
right.
but I should have been in that number. Train wreck is 28 passengers. I'm number 27 of 28, and I'm the only lone survivor, or just me and one other person.
Yeah, but also in some cases, do you think that not because you survived like that you shouldn't have, but do you think that maybe that you should have because there's something else that's going on in your mind that maybe you shouldn't have survived as well too? You know what I'm saying?
Well, that and this. Think about this. Why do I have to carry this around? For everybody else, it's over with. They saw the flames come through the train car. They felt the heat on their body. They felt their flesh melt away and catch on fire. They smelt their own self burning. I got to witness and experience all of that, but I'm still fucking here.
Yeah. I mean, shit. You never know. I mean, shoot, because that's probably a part of your story to tell.
But see, that comes from having a sense of higher purpose, right? That comes
Mm-hmm.
from one's programmed or associated or assimilated or adapted belief system internally. What they accept, what they don't accept, what they ruled out, what they draw from. But without any of that, that remorse comes from the actual survival. I have to carry this. So even when people be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm praying for you," or "I understand," no, you don't. I have to carry this. You saw it on the news. I was in there. What do you say to that person after that? Nothing. There's nothing you could possibly say.
Unless they've been through something traumatic like that as well, yeah, you're right. There's
You
nothing
have
you
to have
can say.
literally gone through the
There's nothing
same
you can say.
exact thing.
Like if I ever meet somebody who survived like 9/11, I
Good
mean, listen,
example.
I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't know what you've been through, and I can't imagine it.
There
But
you go.
I'm gonna continue to pray that you stay strong and hold on. All I can do. You know
You
what I'm
know, the
saying?
mind is a funny stuff. Yeah, the mind's a funny machine, bro. Like you, we want to err on the side of positivity, if at all possible, in all things. However, there are people struggling with this, man, and my heart goes out to those people because the way that the mind works, it can go into that dark space. Why do I have to carry this? People are like, well, you can go on and do. Look, you can go to the beach. You can get on the what do you call it? The jet ski, all this stuff that you can still do. And that person
Yeah,
might be like, yeah, and that's fun, that's great, but my mind keeps going back to that
and that
that
and
that
that that
derailment.
one and that 1 point hair trigger can do something to your mind and say, you know what, fuck it,
Hmm.
and bam,
Yeah,
you
man.
never know.
You
We get a
know,
little we get a little
yeah,
dark here.
nah, yeah. I'm not trying to make it too dark, not too dark, but the dark is important just as the light. It's like I was discussing. We were discussing. Excuse me, I said discussion. I was discussing with some family members earlier what we perceive to be dark versus light. One of the most powerful statements I ever heard made by a president, John F. Kennedy, said, in order to do good, one must participate in evil. And it sounds contradictory, but when you think it
Yeah,
through, it's really not. What
yeah,
do soldiers have to do? They have to do the dirty job that most people are not willing, able, or accepting of doing in order to maintain certain things within their quote unquote way of life. And those soldiers oftentimes suffer from survivor's remorse. How's my
yeah.
whole effing platoon get blown up by a bomb and I happen to go to the latrine 30 seconds before the bomb hit? And I happen to just have to walk far enough in that 30 seconds and drop my trousers, and I could have been in there. So my urge to shit saved my life. I can't
Saved
believe
by the shitter.
I can't believe that. You know what I'm saying? That person might be saying to them, I can't believe that. Person like,
Bruh.
no, it was divine intervention. I don't give a fuck what you're saying, sir or ma'am. I don't believe that. My bowels having to move or me having to urinate didn't save my life. Like far as
Bruh.
I'm concerned, I died with all of those guys. There's a part of me that's dead that you can't reach. You know what I mean? That's that remorse. And I hope anyone watching this doesn't see the darkness in what I'm saying. I hope that you will take this and you will find help if you're suffering from that. I hope that you will find someone you could talk to. I mean, even if it's not a professional, start out somewhere.
Yeah.
Talk to somebody who has an opposing outlook.
We
You need
definitely
it right now.
encourage that. If you need to talk to
Yeah.
somebody, please do so. There's somebody out there. If not, hit us up.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you. We'll
Hit
talk to
us
you.
up in the
Sure.
comments. Leave a number, leave an inbox, an email, whatever. Listen, we're here for the people, and that's not just a lip service statement.
For
It's
sure.
not just that we want your likes, views, and subscribe, but do like, share, and subscribe. Not to be
That
contradictory.
part.
We want
That
that, but at the same time, man, listen, if there's something you want to hear us discuss or something you want to discuss with us, hit us up. Get involved.
indeed.
We like to
Indeed.
take the deeper dives so that we can get to the root of certain issues and get to the solutions. Florida stand up. I'm not going to state who's right or wrong as the Mr. Levi Tate stated. What is Levi Tate? You got to tell me that in a second.
It's levitate.
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 Levy. Oh, okay. I got it. Got it. All right, we
Get
floating. Boom.
high.
Yes, we are getting high. There we go. There we go. All right. So
But
I
in
was
the state
slow
of
on that one.
Florida,
Don't hold it against me, audience. Levitate. Boom. Okay. So
Oh shoot.
State of Florida, stand up, y'all. Listen, um, I have to, like I said, I'm gonna dig deeper into the actual language of the bills that are passed there. I know there's a gun law that people are up in arms about. You know, what is it? Concealed carry without a license, without registration. That passed in Florida.
That's
There was a
like
private,
everywhere though, I think
like a
now,
private
dude. For
meeting
real.
between DeSantis and these NRA guys, and I happen to like both of them. I'm sorry if that's unpopular to you guys, but fuck it. I'm gonna be real.
But dude,
DeSantis
the way the
represent.
world
Uh,
is,
um,
I think
I
that
don't agree with
concealed
everything
carry
that
is
he's
doing
doing
this
either, but
everywhere, bruh. Almost
yeah,
now,
yeah.
shit.
I mean, right here in the O, we definitely have that. I don't
And
know
it's
about the not.
definitely big. It's definitely big here in Texas, bruh.
Oh man, yeah, you in the Longhorn State, bro. God, guns, and country. God bless America. No place else. Mm, that's
Yeah,
Texas, and
yeah.
I ain't mad at Texas. I mean, Texas is you gotta have those people in the world too. You got to, you know what I'm saying? Because I tell you what, you don't want to stand 10 toes down next to anybody else if you really got to go for what's yours.
Facts.
Those same people you'll turn around and be like, thank God you're my neighbor.
Facts.
Yeah, man.
Facts.
So, but Florida, yeah, stand tall, fight against whatever is unrighteous. Always, I
Fight,
would
ag-
say stand for that.
fight against this motherfucking evil, whatever it
Yes,
is. And
whatever it is.
all organic women, if you need your green card, I'm just playing. Unless you're gonna do it.
Allegedly. But yeah,
Allegedly.
allegedly. Passport bros, be aware. Do not go to Florida with your dates.
Ah, shit. Wow. So stupid.
No passport bros in Florida.
Shit. Nah, they gonna be there. Let them
I
go.
know. Oh, I know.
I ain't
I know.
listen. If you go, just
Hmm.
don't tell me. If you tell me, I'm not gonna. I ain't gonna tell. I'm not gonna.
Hey,
I ain't no
listen, get it in.
snitch.
Get it in. You got 30 some days before the law goes into effect in Florida. Get it in. Listen,
Mm,
you know, flood Florida with that commerce. Y'all know y'all want to go real bad. But
listen, I
if I
just
get the
want to go.
chance, I know I am.
I just want to go to get on them cruise ships for that white Hennessy.
Mm,
Now you can
mm,
get that shit around. You can get that shit on
mm,
land. It's just gonna
mm.
cost you a little bit more, but
Listen, I'm telling y'all, okay, you got 30 some days before it goes into effect, Then after that, hey, we got to say fuck Florida for a while, fuck Florida for a while. But like I said, I'm going to dig deeper into the language, the laws to see what the discrepancies are and if these particular agencies are just acting out of political, what's the word I'm looking for, Corey? Bias, or using this as a means to rally their side of the eagle that both wings are shared by. Um, and don't believe all the hype, y'all. Look into it for yourself. That's what I would say. I can't say
yeah,
yay or nay that's a good or a bad thing. I just know we need some immigration reform. The current commander in chief, much respect to the office, but he has done some things that I find extremely questionable. Um, yeah, I mean, people are looking for reparations and what's the other word? Reconciliations and uh, payback. And then, there's other people that are just being given stuff because of conflicts that allegedly our corporation has engaged them into conflict with other corporations. So, yeah, just don't take it out on your neighbor. That's what I would say. Don't take none of this out on people just like you. And I'm not talking about your hue, complexion, ethnicity, racial group, language system, or religious belief. I'm saying anybody who puts their shoes on the same way as you and gets up next door, don't take it out on that person. They don't have nothing to do with it. I don't care who you are and where you are right now. If you hear my voice, don't do it. Don't buy into that. Don't be a
Man,
puppet.
listen, he talking about reparations and reconciliations. I just want to fuck bad bitches. All the nights I never had bitches. Now I'm all up in that ass, bitches. Man, that's your boyfriend, ain't y'all? See, I'm just going off on an old Dre song. That was the shit though.
Mm, yeah.
Facts. What we
I
got
think
up
we're gonna
next,
go
man?
ahead. I think that's it, man. I think we covered it all. Yeah, I think we covered it all. Listen, we're gonna be back at it next week, though. We're gonna come with some new concept. Well, new subject matter. There we go. And we're gonna go in deep with that for y'all too. Like I said, hit us up. Give us feedback, like, share, and subscribe. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
I
sir.
hate I hate watch is still a watch. Even if you hate us, was watch it again. Is I hate these motherfuckers.
I mean, you can hate it all you want to, but if you watch, you must like it, bitch. Just saying.
I just saying though.
I'm just saying though. You feel me?
Yeah, you know
You
what I'm
feel
saying
me?
though.
Indeed.
You
Shout
might
out
be
to
liking this.
the rest of the Schwable Room crew. Old Painless, Old Man Ali, Eddie Pendergrass. You dig what I say? You know.
Indeed.
You know what I'm saying? Until next week.